Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down Greatness. I'm your host, Jaden Chandler Parnell, and wow, that was an ass beating. I mean, sheesh, boy. That was hide your kids, hide the wife, put the kids in bed. That's too ugly to watch. That Eagles absolutely dominated the Chiefs. I mean, 34-0. That's when the Super Bowl kind of ended for me. I mean, obviously we have a final score. I think it was like 40-22 or something like that. But there was a lot of, what do they say? Painting lipstick on a pig. A lot of that going on in the late third quarter, going to fourth quarter. I mean, Mahomes looked awful. We got a lot to talk about. So, today's going to be pretty simple. It's probably going to be a 25 to 40-minute episode. Just literally all Super Bowl talk. Because after I get off this episode today, we'll talk a little bit more, just like some football news and everything, next episode. But this is the last episode of the season. The season that just was. This is our last episode on this show for this last season. The next, I guess technically Thursday will be like a one. This is 1A. It might be like a little bit of a 1B of the season, but it's gonna be a lot of NFL news. And then it's basically, we're talking about next season now, man. It's all these teams got a chance again. All of a sudden, everyone has a chance to win the Super Bowl. But let's be real, we know who's really gonna win the Super Bowl probably next year. So without further ado, like I said, we're just gonna hop straight in. I just want to talk about the Eagles' domination. Wow, dude. I came on the show and said I could see the Eagles winning. I just feel like it'll be a close game regardless. And then, most people, if they were picking the Chiefs, it was simply because of the Chiefs' magic. That was the only reason I basically picked them. Because, if you looked at the Eagles, if you could argue better defensive line, better offensive line. We did it on my show. I think I said basically every position except for maybe quarterback. And even then, our quarterback completely outplayed Mahomes. Hurts completely outplayed Mahomes. But I said basically every position but quarterback, you look at it, it's like Eagles probably are a little bit better than the Chiefs. I don't think there was a single position group. I might have said maybe defense, but I was wrong if I said that. Overall, that was an absolute domination from the Eagles. The biggest thing I'll take away, one of the biggest things is the pass rush, man. The Eagles pass rush. They rushed 4 all night, basically sat in cover 4 59% of the game with Vic Fangio's cover 4. Basically, they have it set up to where, all right, say there's 3 receivers on this side. If one receiver goes over, it's like, all right, if the receiver goes over, I'll sit back in a hard flat. If the receiver goes to the right, I'll come up even harder on the flat. If the receiver goes straight up the field, I drop back 15 yards. There's a lot of, I think Trent Dilfer said it best. He just kind of described it as there's, one main call. So, it's cover 4. But there's a lot of, I think he said sticky zones is the best way he described it. But there's a lot of other zones that it's basically all based on what the receiver does. And that was, if the Eagles could get to that, they were going to dominate the game. And basically, like I said, that 4-man pass rush, I think they had 5-6 total sacks. absolute domination by the Eagles' defensive line. If you could have given out an MVP to multiple people, it should have been given out to the front 4 of the Eagles because, they absolutely wrecked the game. And like I said, the big thing I want to get back to with this cover 4 is, so basically, the Eagles got to sit back, didn't have to rush an extra guy because they were getting pressure with 4. Hell, they even got pressure with 3 1 or 2 times. But basically, they just rushed 4, and then they sat back in that cover 4, and like I said, they were able to react to every route. And with no time to throw, because Mahomes was under so much pressure, it played to the Eagles perfectly. That game played perfectly to the Eagles. Because like I said, say, for example, D-Hop does an out, this receiver goes over, and then the receiver goes straight up in a bunch set. They had guys literally on all 3 of those receivers, all right, passing off perfectly. All right, I got the guy up front, corner. It's all right, I got the guy up front, linebackers covering the guy that's going across. Safety got the guy that's going deep. If you watch, a lot of these pass plays, especially the first, half, 2 quarters, they were just on it. And it started from the get-go. They had a deep bomb to Dotson that shutout. I don't think I gave it out, but I did give out Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. I took him to score first. So just Jahan Dotson getting tackled at the 1 or 8-inch line, it was that's nice to see. But overall, they scored right away. And then, I think it got to about the time I gave up, honestly, was probably, it was 17-0. Because, so the Eagles scored a touchdown, and then Jake Elliott got a field goal. And then Mahomes had that pick 6. And the pick 6 Cooper DeJean where he didn't even see the guy. And that was so it's going to be one of them days today, huh? Because, Cooper DeJean, that's literally a play you see. I'm not going to say Mahomes can obviously make that play mistake. He's a human being after all, and he's going to have bad games. He had a horrible game. I don't care what the stats say. He had a lot of garbage time to clean it up. He had a horrible game the first 3 quarters. which we didn't expect, honestly. And that's the reason the Eagles were able to win so much. I mean, Mahomes, like I said, he's rolling out to his right, throws back a little bit across his body, and Cooper DeJean just picks it off, runs basically to the other side of the field to score pick six. Shout out to him. Pick six on your birthday in the Super Bowl. My immediately first thought there, pick six, it's like, man, when the Chiefs come back and win, that's going to really, really suck that he won't be able to celebrate this moment. But that didn't happen at all, boy. No, but like I said, that pick six happened. So about that point, there's a lot of nothing that happens, and the Chiefs basically get the ball back with like 2 minutes left for do a 2-minute drive. 17-7, they score there, and they score out of half, even if it's just a field goal. It's 17-0 right now. So you're sitting there, it's like, all right, Chiefs still have a little bit of a chance. And then I'll admit, second he threw that pick to Zach Bond, because, I mean, if you watch the game, you saw Mahomes gets bumped a little bit, hits the little, So as he's throwing it, the ball gets messed up, messes up his feet and everything. Becomes a pick, and second Zach Bond picks it off. That's from like, oh, okay, the Chiefs are in a lot of trouble, and then they end up getting a crossing route to A.J. Brown to make it 24-0 going to half. That's about where I was like, okay, so the Chiefs are in real trouble now, and sure enough, they get the ball to half. Don't do anything with it, by the way, halftime show. I like Kendrick Lamar. I genuinely do like Kendrick Lamar. I thought it was okay. I'm not going to say it was the worst halftime show I've seen. I'm not going to say it's the best halftime show I've seen. It was okay. I'll admit, all the deep messaging and everything he did, I do like that part of it, because it's like, hey, that is an artist who's a deep thinker, to see like his deep thinking. Like that part is really cool, but I'll admit, like a lot of music-wise, a lot of it was newer, and I'll admit I haven't listened to a ton of newer Kendrick, so it's kind of like, all right. And then, like I said, the Chiefs get the ball to half, field goal to make it 27-0. And then, man, this felt like it was a dagger. Chiefs basically give the ball to because the Chiefs held down the run game amazing, which is a point I'll bring up into a minute, which basically the point will kind of get turned into this, because basically with 43 seconds left of the third quarter, Xavier Worthy, shout out to him, insane Super Bowl game by him. I mean, he played really, really good for being a rookie. He's been named the only guy who showed up on offense. I mean, D-Hop had a good game as well, but Xavier Worthy had a game, boy. But no, basically the Chiefs get the ball back. It's about 2 minutes, about 50-ish seconds, 45 seconds. Oh, oops. I'm going to just hit this thing every single damn time, aren't I? Sorry about that. Messed up my light. But no, basically, so like the Eagles get the ball back. And I'll admit, like I said, the Chiefs, their game plan for handling in Saquon on the run, they did real. But no, like I said, I thought the Eagles had a really good game plan of stopping Saquon. I mean, they had guys chasing from the backside. I mean, he only had like 57 yards rushing. I think like around 40-ish yards passing. Like, they handled in Saquon really, really well. It's just the Eagles basically planned for that and beat them in every other aspect of the game, because this was one of the things that was like say, they were handling in Saquon. I mean, they did a play action, deep bomb to Devontae Smith to make it 34-0 at that point, because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it looked like a Commanders game on repeat, because basically a lot of one-on-one coverage where the Eagles wide receivers were just dominating. Like, Devontae Smith had enough separation to where, like, that was an easy catch. A.J. Brown multiple times got amazing separation. It's like, these were all great calls, and even when they weren't great calls by Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, he was decisive as can be. Like, it's like all right, that's not open, dump it off. All right, that's not open, I'm running. Okay, that's not open, we're going now. That is open, throw. Like, and you saw it against the Commanders. There was a deep ball that he had against this is what's credit to like Jalen Hurts, where it's like, hey, the kid can ball, man. Because it was credit to him, because like genuinely, you saw it against the Commanders where A.J. Brown had a step on Marshawn Lattimore. I can't remember what play exactly, but there was a deep route on the sideline. He had to play. And you see Jalen Hurts like kind of like literally looked like he's about to let it go, and then for whatever reason it's just like, no. And then he ends up running, I think, for either like, it was basically a nothing play where they got almost nothing out of it when they could have had a deep shot to A.J. Brown that probably would have been complete. And then you watch the Super Bowl, no hesitation. He's like, oh, the guy's open. Jahan Dotson got a step, throw. Oh, there's a step, throw. I mean, it was decisive as can be. Great play calling, great route running, great execution by Jalen Hurts. Because that's the biggest thing coming in this game. Everyone was like, can Jalen Hurts win the game? Can Jalen Hurts, or if they're going to lose, it's going to be because of Jalen Hurts, all this, all that. And Jalen Hurts just shut up all the haters, played one of the best games of his career, and hey, he's, I think, only the fourth quarterback in NFL history, black quarterback, to win a Super Bowl. I think he's one of the very few. Did he win a Heisman? I can't remember. I know Devontae Smith is one of the very few that won a Heisman and won a Super Bowl and won a national championship. I mean, Jalen Hurts, one of the few that won a national championship and won a Super Bowl. I mean, the Heisman thing I can't remember. I could have sworn Jalen Hurts won a Heisman, but now I could have sworn he did, but I could be wrong about that. I'm about to look that up because I won't lie to you. I actually Do not know. Oh, he finished runner-up that year. Who won in 2019? Joe Burrow. That makes a lot more sense now. I was wondering, like, man, I could have sworn Jalen Hurts had an amazing season. Forgot Joe Burrow had that much better of a season. No, but overall, what the hell? No, overall, though, I thought that Jalen Hurts had an amazing game. And like I said, at this point, 34-0, it's basically over. There's a little bit of stat pattern, like Worthy scores a touchdown, then you get 2 field goals by Jake Elliott. Then a D-Hop touchdown, they get the 2-point. Xavier Worthy gets a touchdown, get the 2-point. Mahomes finished 21 for 32, 257, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jalen Hurts 17 for 22, 221, 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions. Mahomes was very, very, very garbage. I think going into halftime, the Chiefs had like 3 rushes for 3 yards. Offensively, he had like 28 passing yards or something like that. Going into the third quarter, too, it was just like that. The Eagles, like I said, the Chiefs had no answers. Like, it was just domination. Like, especially in the third quarter, that's where Jalen Hurts kind of won the MVP because it's like, all right, they finally have him stopped for third down potentially. Jalen Hurts ran for 15 yards first down. They finally might have an answer. The Eagles get another first down. And there's 1 point also, like early in the halftime. I think it was like 13 first downs. The Chiefs had 1 point. The Chiefs had 10 plays ran. The Eagles had 10 first downs. Like, the Eagles absolutely just dominated this game from every aspect. Every single aspect was absolute domination, which, like I said, we talked about a little bit earlier. The only reason you were picking the Chiefs is because you're like, man, they have that black magic. They're going to find a way to win. They've just been doing that. And Mahomes played probably one of the worst games he's ever played in his career. And both of his Super Bowl losses are like massive blows, 31-9 and 40-22, which for the GOAT conversation, that's going to delay it now a few more years. I'm sure we'll have probably another like 3 to 5 years before we have like the serious, like, is Patrick Mahomes the GOAT? I think Patrick Mahomes might be the GOAT. We got another, 3-5 years until that happens probably. Brady definitely bought himself some time. And I got to say, multiple people have said this. I kind of agree. I had to feel pretty good for Brady in that booth. I know he's, like, unbiased. He's a winner, too. He loves seeing greatness. He loves seeing all that. But as a guy who owns all those records, he probably really enjoyed watching Mahomes struggle a little bit. And he gets to sit there and be like, yeah, still got it. No, but in all seriousness, basically, yeah, no more black magic. So now I'm excited going into the next season. It's a fresh slate now because now the Chiefs, I'm not going to say dynasty's over. They definitely have a chance to go back and win some more, but they got some retooling to do. They got some refocusing, offensive line-wise. They got to figure out the offensive line, man. The offensive line got absolutely dominated by the defensive line. Like I said, they got 6 sacks on no blitz. They were all front and forward just massively causing chaos. Another thing to look forward to for the Chiefs is they can't screw up these drafts much more. And like I said, they've been having some really, really, really good drafts. They draft George Karlaftis, McDuffie, guys who are key rotational pieces that are huge when you got the guys like Mahomes making a shit ton of money, guys like Chris Jones, Travis Kelce making a shit ton of money. You need the guys that don't make as much but are in great spots. They had the Chiefs, the second-round pick. They used on a tackle that basically, I can't remember if he got injured, if he was the guy that was just so horrible they basically couldn't play him, but now they need to figure out their left tackle situation. They wasted a second round. I'm not going to say they wasted a second-round pick because we don't know for sure, but using a second-round pick on a guy that doesn't really play all season, you move your left guard out the tackle, that's a tough one because they got Xavier Worthy in the first round, but you look at the second round, it's man, we could have got, I don't know. That's actually a really good, I meant to look that up. I was wondering, who they could have got. So yeah, we're real quickly just looking at round 22. I just want to see where they drafted at and who was behind them. They're a good team, so they're going to struggle to begin with to get a decent spot in the draft. Man, seeing the Colts draft pick just kind of made me a little sad. But yeah, they offensive tackle out of BYU. They draft Kingsley Suamatia. It will just look like right behind him, just a few picks. Renardo Green, cornerback, probably didn't need. Malachi Corley, he didn't really. Trey Benson, Brandon Coleman might have been decent, I don't know. Caden Wallace, Junior Colson, Andrew Phillips, Isaiah Adams. We'll go to 75. Trevion Wallace, Cooper Beebe. You look at it. It's second round guys. They're good NFL players. But they aren't those hot headliner number 1 guys where it's Travis Hunter, a Tony Benito in the draft. I don't even know if I said his name right, but looking at all these Is it Joe? I meant Joe Benito. I don't know who Tony Benito is. But no, it's like you're looking at it. There wasn't like I was trying to see if there was like what big offensive lineman they missed on. They really didn't. They just didn't get a basically not. Is Tony Benito even a person? It is not. Ooh. But no, they basically just got a person that wasn't able to contribute as much winning these last few years in these high rounds. Like a few years ago, they got Trent McDuffie, I think, late first round or early second. My senior year of college, 2021, they get George Karlaftis, 30th overall pick. I mean, it's just stuff like that. Like, they've really got to nail down this offensive line because at this point, that's what's holding them back. And then probably, I'm not going to say, I would think maybe get some wide receiver help. I mean, they have decent wide receivers. They just need that. Like, they have the burner. They need that, like, that's it. I mean, we're nitpicking, man. This is a team that lost in the Super Bowl. But offensive line-wise, for sure, that's something they need. They could probably get some help at running back because Isaiah Pacheco, after coming back from his leg injury, I understand he comes back in the middle of the season. You don't really get a time to rehab and everything. I mean, the fact that Kareem Hunt was taking carries away from him, that kind of tells you all you need to know about that situation. When it comes to wide receiver-wise, they have good wide receivers. If D-Hop was 3 or 4 years younger, I would say their core is perfect because they got that number one dominant. They got Marquise Hollywood Brown. They got Xavier Worthy. I mean, honestly, their receiving core is pretty decent. They probably could just use another, like, big. I mean, the only thing they were missing is probably, like, a bigger name, like a A.J. Brown, like a Calvin Johnson when he was in the league. Like Antonio Brown. Like, I mean, I know I'm naming some Hall of Famers, but they're basically, that's all they're missing. Like, wide receiver-wise, like, they got decent wide receiver. Like, Hollywood Brown's pretty good. Xavier Worthy is turning out to be pretty good. Travis Kelce, good for his age. DeAndre Hopkins, pretty good. Like, they just, the offensive line, they had no time to throw, so they had no time for guys to get open who, yeah, they're better receivers, but I think Xavier Worthy's the only one who could, like, get open quick. DeAndre Hopkins is not much of a separation guy at this point. Now he's more of a contested catch, even though he had a play where he's wide open and dropped it. It's a struggle for the Chiefs, man. And also it comes down to Mahomes didn't have the best of games. Like I said, the first 3 quarters, he played pretty awful. Every time he tried to step up, he just got engulfed by the defensive line. So like you'd see the play on the 3rd down, he tried to step up to make them home magic, engulfed. Tried to go out to the side, immediately getting swarmed and chased by defenders. They tried to run screens didn't work. Tried to run the ball, running the ball didn't work. I mean, no matter what the Kansas City Chiefs did, it just did not work. And that's why we got to give credit to the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Another thing that we didn't talk about too much in my show that I probably should have brought up is, first off, three-peat. The Chiefs were trying to get three-peat gear. They're trying to sign a deal with Pat Riley. As a former player and being on the Eagles, they probably were looking at that like, oh, so these boys think they're going to just get the three-peat over us. Okay, they just think they're going to win this game. Okay. And not only were by the way, like I said, the Eagles were really good, dominant to begin with. I mean, they ended the season really good. Like this is the opposite of last year. Last year where they started the season amazing, ended it horribly. I mean, we read over the losses. Other than like one close loss to the Commanders, there are only 2 other losses in the beginning of the season. The end of the season, they were just. Other than that Rams game, I mean, they were beating teams down. Saquon was absolutely dominating. I mean, this was the best team in football. And if you look between them and the Ravens, probably had the 2 best rosters overall if you go position by position. The Chiefs were just winners and found ways to win. But overall, like I said, just shout out to the Eagles, man. They were able to find a huge way to win. And, man, they made Mahomes look bad. And this is a team where it's like Kellen Moore is probably rumored to go to the Saints, but other than Kellen Moore, I mean, there's a lot of pieces they could potentially bring back. They just probably, I don't even know. I don't really know who's like an issue with them contract-wise. I think most guys are like dealed up and everything. I mean, Sirianni's probably going to get a new deal for sure, but I mean, past that, I really don't know who is like. Let's see. It's looking like so we got. Let's see. Some of the names. So I don't know how exact this is, but. Just look at some of the names for free agency. You got Josh Sweat, which is going to be a big one. Brandon Graham, who sounds like he's going to potentially retire. So I don't know what's going to happen with him, but if he doesn't retire, they're going to sign him back on like a 1-year cheap deal, I would assume. Zach Bond, that's going to be a guy they want back. Mekhi Becton, I'm assuming they really want him back as well. Vontae Max, another guy I assume they want back. But then you got like Milton Williams, Raven Clark, Rick Lovato, CJ Uzama, Fred Johnson, Jack Driscoll, Paris Campbell, Oren Burks, Nick Gates, Isaiah Rodgers, they might want him back because he was a decent returner. Kenneth Gainwell, another guy they might want back. Ian Book, they probably don't care about too much. And some of these, by the way, there's restricted free agents, unrestricted free agents, and then I actually don't know what is EFRA? What is EFRA? It's a type of free agent, but Oh, exclusive rights free agents. Okay. But yeah, like I said, so I would assume, based on like that little list I read, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, assuming he doesn't retire, Zach Bond, Mekhi Becton, Avonte Maddox, Isaiah Rodgers, Kenneth Gainwell are going to be the main ones they focus on. But past that, I mean, a lot of their team's going to be together. If they can keep this core together, this is a team that they can run it back to back, man. I mean, with how dominant they were, it's just crazy at the beginning of the year. Nick Sirianni getting his job called for. I mean, I might have even said something on it myself. It's just funny how the Eagles fans are, where they're just mad at their team. They're always somehow mad at their team. And then, look at this. It doesn't matter because their team ended up being great. Maybe that anger and fuel is what they needed. I don't know. It's just unbelievable that the Eagles, like I said, I'm not shocked the Eagles won. The part that's unbelievable to me is they beat the Chiefs' ass. Like, that was, and I felt like most of the D-line, it was just like hella bull rushes. Like, you'd see the replays, you watch live, it's just bull rush, pockets on Mahomes, bull rush, pockets on Mahomes. They literally took the Chiefs out of their game because you saw in this third quarter, they had some late third quarter going to the fourth. I mean, I know it's garbage, but they had some, they were able to find something in the run game a little bit, but the fact that they took the Chiefs completely out of the run game, I think was a huge for the Eagles because that basically helped them win the title. So now I think them and the Chiefs are tied for plus 650 to win the Super Bowl again. I won't be shocked if the Eagles make it back at this point. We'll talk about that quickly, and then basically we'll end the show with some, just talk about some bets and some props, some stuff that happened with the Super Bowl. Because I'll admit, like today's episode is pretty much just gonna be a lot of Super Bowl recap, celebration of the Eagles for their amazing season they had, and then Thursday is when we'll get back to some of the news. Like, I'll talk about the Offensive Player of the Year, which I'm sure most of you know at this point. Saquon won Offensive Player of the Year. Josh Allen won MVP. Like, I'll go backtrack, do some of that, talk some of the coaching and all that. But I just at least want to get to this point out of the way, or at least just not even get this point out of the way. I just wanted the Super Bowl to have its own episode. This is off season, so we aren't going to be going like for hours long anymore anyway. It'll be like quick, like 30, 40-minute episodes. So I just want to give the Chiefs a little bit of, Chiefs, Eagles a little bit of shine, and then give the Eagles their flowers for being really good team, man. They were a really, really good built team, and they proved it this year by how dominant they were. And like I said, now the Eagles are actually plus 600 now, so they've gotten bet a little bit, which is kind of hilarious. That's funny. We have 364 days in the next Super Bowl. People are already like, give me them Eagles. The Ravens actually bumped up a decent amount too. They're now to plus 650. I think they were around like 750. Well, I can't remember fully, but kind of funny. But like I said, the Lions are plus 10,000, plus 1,000. I don't know about that. 49ers are plus 1,500. I don't know. I just wanted to bring up that a little bit. NFL draft's the next thing we got to focus on, too. I mean, that's going to be interesting. They got Cam Ward now going number 1 overall. Abdul Carter's right under him, then Travis Hunter, then Shador. That's going to be the next fun thing to talk about. We'll probably talk about that next week. Just like I said, we're going to spend most of this week just kind of reminiscing, enjoying the season that was before we officially have to move on. And it's like, man, I can't believe it's already the offseason. We have, I think, officially 205 days until the next NFL season starts, which I believe will be on September 7th is a Sunday, so I'm assuming that September 4th looking like it might be the kickoff day. Man, crazy that we're already at that time of the season. But like I said, real quickly to end it, we'll kind of go over some of the betting, some of the stuff, how it went. Jalen Hurts scored an octopus, Saquon octopus. Nope. 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. Would have hit, but the Chiefs' rushing game got literally taken out of the game, so that one sucked. Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, that special. I'll admit, most of the specials just didn't hit. I don't think I hit a single special I give out. The only, novelty prop / game special I hit was we hit tails and for Chiefs to win the coin toss, which I'll admit, your boy had a decent amount of change on it, so it'd be up. I think I had 100 on tails, 50 on Chiefs to win the coin toss, because why not, man? I had basically 100 left over. I wanted the Chiefs to win the coin toss for sure, so I already knew I threw 50 on that. But I threw 50 at the beginning of the week on tails. I think it was a mix of I kind of forgot, and at the same time, it's just that gut feeling of I think it's going to be tails this year. Took tails, so we had to start off the Super Bowl, I think, up $300, which was awesome. Because, like I said, a lot of the specials did not hit. And it took a lot of live betting, some touchdown scores to make it better. Because overall, I mean, with it being a blowout, the prop market, dead. Unless you took the Eagles, I mean, yeah, if you took Chiefs money line, you put a lot on that. That game was over quick for you. Like I said, it wasn't the best Super Bowl prop-wise, but overall, I mean, your boy gave out some good winners. We had some decent ones. It's just, like I said, the game script got thrown out the window so quickly that any Eagles bets you basically took prop-wise, like Saquon's under, was automatic, apparently, especially rushing-wise. I think a lot of the receiver, I mean, Devonta Smith hit over, so that's not true totally, but there's a good amount of, like, props. Like I said, there was just like, script kind of killed that one. Like, Dallas Goedert's over and everything. Immediately out the window because they didn't have to throw the ball nearly as much over the middle. Like, they basically weren't forced to throw the ball over the middle basically at all. So that's why Goddard only finished with 2 catches. Because they basically got to throw, I think most of their big plays, like I remember off the side of my head, were plays that were either going towards the sidelines or on the sidelines. That kind of, like I said, that takes away from the middle of the field. So Chiefs money line we gave out. Favorite bet was the Mahomes rushing attempts. I think it would have hit if he didn't get sacked so much because there was multiple times where it's like you see him borderline about to run there, and then before I even get to that point, like there's multiple times where you saw him looking like he's gonna run and then he just gets swallowed up. But then there's a few other. There's at least like 3 or 4 plays where it's like he could have scrambled, got a few more yards, instead he decides to throw it, and then it ends up in a drop, so the drive gets killed. And then, like I said, they didn't have the ball nearly as much at all in the first half, so that absolutely just killed any flow of the game when it came to that stuff. DeAndre Hopkins over 1.5 receptions, over 11.5 receiving yards. Money. That's really, really nice. That one. And we also had Xavier Worthy over 55.5 receiving yards. We had both those guys score as well, which basically ended up being, I think one of my favorite bets was that DeAndre Hopkins receiving over. Because it felt really, really low. And you could see right away, like, they wanted him in the Super Bowl. It's just, he didn't score too late in the game for a reason, and it also doesn't help that, like I said, the Chiefs were just getting an M cheeks clap, so that kind of ruined the game. Xavier Worthy had the game. I think he had 157 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely balled out. He's going to be so fun to watch for the Chiefs, especially next year once they get him. I mean, once you saw it, once Marquise Hollywood Brown came back and they were able to put Xavier Worthy in his spot, I mean, he looked like a whole different guy, so it's going to be fun to see now coming into year 2, like, okay, now they kind of know you as a speedster guy. What are you going to change to get better? Because you know he's going to get better. And that's going to be the fun part. I can't wait to see, like, if his route running gets cleaner, if he's going to be able to find a way to get separation. I mean, his catching is pretty good. Is he going to be able to improve that? That's the part I'm excited to see when it comes to Xavier Worthy. Kelsey, 16.5 receiving yards, over 6.5 receptions. Yeah, that boy old. I think it's going to be to the point now where I don't know how many more overs for Kelsey I'm going to take. I might just be one of those things where it's like, maybe I'll bet him live if I get a good number, but past that, it's like, I'm not going to lie to you, he's at that point now where it's like they're starting to have some other guys, so I don't know how much they actually need Kelsey anymore. So he's kind of, I think he's a little bit past his prime. So I mean, he had 114 receiving yards against the Texans, so at the same time, it's kind of like, he still has those games in him, but I don't know how often we'll see them anymore. Patrick Mahomes were 1.5 passing touchdowns. He got that in garbage time, thankfully. Dallas Goedert, like I said, over 49.5 and over 4.5 receptions. I mean, nope. He got taken out of the game script. Xavier Worthy catch a pass on the first drive. That was really nice. Dallas Goedert to catch a pass on the first drive. Didn't really happen because they didn't end up using him, but Xavier Worthy got hit, so that ends up helping us break even, at least on that, being up a little bit. Kareem Hunt over 43.5 rushing yards. Xavier Worthy over 5.5 rushing yards. The rushing game just wasn't there. I mean, I don't even think Xavier Worthy had a single rush in this game, which is very, very, very rare where he doesn't have a rush attempt. This is only let's see, so we count September 8th. With the first game, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was only the 5th time and the first time since November 29th that he didn't even have a single rush attempt in the game. So, like I said, the game script absolutely blew up any chance of them doing anything like that. So that sucked. That's also crazy that since November 29th, that was like a good 6, 7, 8 week stretch where he had a rushing attempt and they just weren't even able to do it because, like I said, Eagles defense dominated that much. And then these two ended up being bangers. Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rushing yards in fourth quarter. Jalen Hurts over 6.5 rushing yards fourth quarter. Both had some pretty big runs. Jalen Hurts had, I think, like a 15 to 17 yard run himself. Where immediately after that happened, you're like, all right, we're pretty good. And then the way the game was going as well, we were sitting there with the points like, man, Kenny Pickett might take some knees to help this rushing over. So that was awesome. And then, like I said, the Mahomes one hit. Really, really cool. I got to do my tallies for the end of the season. So we'll talk. I haven't done playoff records yet, so we could probably do that on air, waste some time. But real quick, touchdown-wise, Jalen Hurts hit. Barkley, Kelsey did not. Kareem Hunt and Patrick Mahomes did not hit. Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins did. So what was that, 3 and 4? Yeah, 3 and 4. Damn. And then Nasty Boy, Hopkins receptions hit, Mahomes rushing hit. I should have never added Goddard. The second I added Goddard, I got so many texts from people talking like, hey, this guy gave out the over 4.5 too. This guy gave out the 4.5 too. I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. Maybe it doesn't feel too good. Wish I would have put Jalen Hurts rushing over in there, and then Kareem Hunt touchdown. That just Joe's the wrong guy, man. Which sucks because I won't lie. The 2-leg, I removed Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns, and I had DeAndre Hopkins anytime touchdown. I have both those in there, and I'm just like, man, this is 2 Chiefs correlated. I need to change it up, and that basically summed up the Nasty. We still had a great year Nasty Boy wise. I think we ended up, 539. Made $539. We went like 6-46. We just had a cold stretch in the season. I think a lot of it was just second guessing. Because like I said, I had a winning Nasty Boy. Took it out so I could add some Eagles props to it. Added in Kareem Hunt because he was on the NBA Jam. I just tinkered too much and ended up screwing myself. But overall, real quick, college football, 87, 77, and 1 on the straights. Prop-wise, we went 33 and 29. Bowl season went 21 and 11. Absolutely cleaned up bowl season. Pick'em, 193 and 79. I think it was good enough for like 4th or 5th in Pick'em. That's another thing we got to fix going into next year. We got to lock back in, man. We haven't won in a while. Starting to get that hunger. NFL bets, this is all regular season stuff because like I still need to tally the off-season, which I might consider doing on the show. NFL bets, like I said, regular season, we went 86, 65, and 1. Touchdown scores, we went 178 and 95. So a little negative, but we had some good numbers in there, which I think helped us at least break even at worst. Which I'm pretty sure we had a good positive year there. NFL player props-wise, 121, 92. And then, like I said, College Nasty Boy, we went 1-18, down about $40. College Nasty Boys, I'll admit, I was just off all year. I was literally missing by one leg. I missed by one leg, I think, 4 weeks in a row. And it's like, all right, well, that's frustrating. You can't. And then the legs, like I missed by, if I had another leg, it would have hit. It was one of those situations. And then NFL Nasty Boys, like I said, we went 6-46. We were up 554 before Super Bowl. If my math is correct, that means we are up 539 on the year, which, like I said, we're up $500 in the year on that alone, minus the other stuff that we went positive on. It's a great betting year. Sad that the Super Bowl ended out in a blowout, but it's a great betting year for us. And the best part about it, which hopefully I'll be able to talk about a little bit more, your boy became a 5-time fantasy champion, which I'll probably bring fantasy up a little bit more. I want to eventually. I don't know if that's going to be next year, 2 or 3 years from now, but I do want to talk a little bit more fantasy on this show. I just want to dedicate its own episode to it, which I'm going to have to figure out how that's going to go down. And I have a friend I kind of want to invite on that goes deep in the weeds as well in fantasy, and he knows a good amount. It's just I don't know how that schedule will line up. But yeah, and then just overall, it was a great Super Bowl. Basically, my final thoughts before we hit the outro. Sucks the Super Bowl is a blowout, but we got 3 years of great games in a row where they're 3-point games, so I guess we were kind of due for a blowout. But that just goes to show you, the Chiefs, not only should we be impressed by how dominant the Eagles were, which I'll give them their flowers to end it, but we should be a little bit impressed by the Chiefs. I mean, they had some clear flaws throughout the season. I mean, they weren't as flawed as they were last year when they won it, but they had some very clear flaws, especially in the offensive line, and I think all of us knew it deep down. We just couldn't go against the Chiefs, a lot of us who did bet on the Chiefs. Which makes sense. I mean, Mahomes has been absolutely dominant. He's been playing really, really good football. So, I mean, it makes sense not to go against him. But, man, looking back, like I said, this looks like it might be one of the most dominant teams in recent memory. Just because, I mean, their defense gave up, the Eagles being, their defense gave up, I think, an average of 17 points a game, which is number 1 in the league. I mean, their offense at the end of the year, I mean, was 40-burger, 50-burger, 40-burger, 30-burger. I mean, they were just dumping on teams then the year. So, I mean, overall, like I said, the Chiefs, you look back at their schedule, there's a lot of close games they won where it's a blocked field goal against the Broncos. They went 19-17 against the Chargers. But another game, they went 19-17 against the Raiders. 30-27 against the Panthers. 15-14, 16-14 beat the Broncos to the block kick. There's a lot of games where you look at it and it's like, man, how'd they win that game? That's one we probably should have known versus, you look at the Eagles. I mean, they just absolutely, like I said, we're going to exclude the Commanders loss on December 22nd. Take that away. The Eagles didn't lose. They lost 2 games in September, and then it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 1 outside of September. Like I said, the only loss coming to the Commanders, and you're looking at games like 40-22 Super Bowl, 55-23 against Commanders. Rams game was Mexico 20-22, Packers 22-10. Giants, nobody's playing, we won't count that. Week before, Cowboys, 41-7, 27-13, 22-16, 24-9. So they had some closer games, but they were beating good teams, and like it was showing. So it's one of those things where it's like, shout out to the Eagles, man. Unlike last year, last year they were like 10-0 or something like that, and then absolutely just fell off a cliff. I think lost to the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs. Versus this year, it's almost like they flipped that mentality. They're like, all right, now we know when we need to go. We probably went a little bit too early last year. We need to go a little bit later. So yeah, they waited. Like I said, they got those 2 losses in September, October winning, November winning, December winning, and that's when it felt like they started to really get going. You're looking at like Saquon. Only thing I think this team missed out on was the rushing title for Saquon and for that offensive line. If they would have got that, I think that would have been the only thing that could have made the season even more magical. Because like I said, Nick Sirianni now is one of 3 coaches ever with a 700 winning percentage and a Super Bowl. I don't know if it's in his first whatever years, if that's just all time. Which obviously Nick Sirianni has a chance to drop out because of losses and everything. But it's him, Vince Lombardi, John Madden. I get the guy has some good players, but he's in some special categories. So we got to give him some credit as well. Give credit to all the Eagles who, like I said, they had a really, really rough year last year, and they were able to bounce back. And they were bouncing back from that loss in 22. You could tell they were low. I'm not going to say they were a little bit hungrier, but they might have just been a little bit hungrier. And absolute domination. Shout out to the Chiefs. Shout out to the Chiefs for getting there, but shout out to the Eagles for not only getting there, but dominating in a win and getting a massive win, which is now, their second Super Bowl since, when did the Eagles win it? Whenever the Eagles won last, 2019, I think-ish. Second Super Bowl within 4 or 5 years. So, awesome win for them. Like I said, awesome win, man. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for really do appreciate it. Just crazy that once I get off this episode, the season's over pretty much. We'll talk and my playoff record, what the actual numbers were. Next episode, I'll probably post all that in the comments as well, so it can just be seeing how the season went. We'll start that next week. We'll probably post that for 2 or 3 weeks. And then, man, fresh slate. We're starting basically a fresh slate. I need to talk to my boy Rowan, get him on soon, because it's March Madness season. Starting next week, pretty much, it's all right, football, we're going to talk off-season stuff. We're going to focus on draft, but March Madness is upon us. It's just, like I said, 205 days till the NFL season begins again, so we got a long, long journey ahead. It's going to be a fun one, though. We need to do our futures as well, which is probably what I'll do next episode as well, is I'll tally up the futures. We had a really, really good season betting futures-wise, and I'm excited, man. I felt like we ended the season really, really well. Got very, very hot towards the end of the season. Had some really good futures, cashed out at the perfect time. And now it's like, man, one more year of experience, one more year of getting smarter, and now we get a whole offseason to load up and do it again. But like I said, Thursday we'll probably talk a little bit of futures, talk the playoff official record, and then we're going to talk a lot of coaching, coaching moves, who's going where, some projections, predictions, a lot of the news. AP awards, we got a little bit of that to talk about. So it's going to be a lot of, we're in speculation season, baby. So it's going to be really, really fun. We're going to officially start going to 2 episodes a week. And like I said, hopefully by the start of next season, we'll be doing 3 to 4 a week, which will be very, very exciting because, man, got a lot of planning to do, a lot of prepping for the season. Cannot wait, man. But shout out to the Eagles. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for support. Really do appreciate it. Officially crazy, man. The season's over, and now we move on to the off season. We prep for March Madness. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. There's Unrivaled going for WNBA. There's a lot that's about to be popping off soon as we begin the journey back to the NFL season with 205 days left. 205 days left till the next NFL season. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate the support. Shout out to Philadelphia Eagles, and I will see everybody in this feed on Thursday.